Reproductive medicine. We are continuing with our discussion with Dr. Jackson Ndhlovu on how medicine has advanced to make it easier for those people who are struggling with infertility to realize their dreams of having a family. Part 1 of our discussion, if you have missed it, is available on our YouTube links, and tonight he's continuing to explore this topic with us. The same, I suppose, applies with the women for the embryos. You can either get a known or an unknown.
The same. So you get women who are young, less than the age of 40, with no eggs. And most common condition is called premature ovarian insufficiency, where you are born with the risk of getting premature ovarian insufficiency. 28-year-old, you don't ovulate, you become amenorrheic, you don't see your periods. Then you have the symptoms of menopause at 28, where you get hot flashes and tired, fatigue, mood swings. You consult, they tell you that you don't have eggs. Then they start giving you hormonal therapy. Those are patients that will come and say, "Please, doc, I don't want to have a baby. I'm young. I just got married. How can you assist?" The only treatment for them is donor eggs. And the other group of patients that will definitely need donor eggs is women who are above the age of 45. In fact, 44. Not because they don't have eggs, it's because most of the eggs are abnormal anyway.
What is abnormal eggs? What is normal
eggs are those
eggs?
eggs that can conceive but lead to miscarriages.
Oh.
Those are abnormal eggs. They can conceive but lead to miscarriage. Conceive leads to abnormal fetuses that form. So those are abnormal eggs. So the genetic material in that egg is not suitable to produce a normal child. So miscarriages occur because the body senses, or the embryo senses, that something is not right. The only way I can do better for this person is for me to go out. It's because the genetic material of the fetus or baby is not normal. So that happens a lot because of the age of the female. So female age is the most suitable predictor of success of IVF. Women between the ages of 18 to 35, they've got a good chance of them going home with a baby when they do IVF, ranging between 40 to 55% chance of having a baby when you are ages between 18 and 35 when you do IVF. Above 35, let's take 35 to 40, you stand a chance of 20, chance of you having a baby, take-home baby rate, because your eggs are abnormal. The genetic material in those eggs are abnormal. So above 45, the chance of you having a baby doing IVF is almost zero. So is it worth it for you to spend all this money to try and be pregnant when you know that if I'm to use my cousin's eggs, she's 20 or 25 or 30, I stand a 50% chance of going home with a baby. While if I use my own eggs, I stand a 0% chance of going home with a baby. So it's an option that you have to take. And fortunately now, we can do what we call embryo biopsy, where we can take your eggs at whatever age and we fertilize them with your partner's semen or sperm. Then we grow the eggs in the lab up to day 5. We call them embryos. Then from day 5, we biopsy those embryos.
Okay, what does that mean?
Biopsy means we take a tissue, a piece of cells on that embryo and send it to the lab. So the lab will have to analyze whether the embryo is normal or not.
No, at that very premature stage.
Pre-implantation, before we put back into the womb.
Yes.
So we can do that. Then the lab will tell us whether the embryo biopsy or where the tissue was taken, is this a normal embryo, for one? Can we put it back or not? And they also tell us the gender. And I think past 3 weeks, South African law has now authorized that we can tell the patients the gender of the baby. While in the previous years, we were not supposed to know the gender because people would do gender selection. But now the law has been passed and we can know whether this embryo that we biopsy is the boy or girl and whether it's normal or not. So that's the nice thing. So in the majority, you'll find that those who are above 40, you'll find 70% of those embryos are abnormal. So you're left with very few embryos to use.
So, is there anything that one can do before you even get to that point where, let's say, I've decided I want to have a child? I'm not even married yet. And then I come and say, Dr. Jackson, is there anything we can work towards in terms of ensuring that I have, normal eggs, or even the, health, if I don't know if I should put it like that, or the lifespan of my eggs is preserved? Is there a proactive approach when it comes to this?
There is. Ideally, all women before the age of 35 are supposed to present to a healthcare professional to say, look, I'm married, I'm single, I'm still busy with my master's or PhD. I just want to know about my reproductive status. Because people check blood pressure, they check their sugar, they check urine, they check everything else other than the reproductive status. And
that's
the
true.
only system which doesn't stop for anyone is the reproductive system, especially for women. Women's eggs, every month you see your periods, they get depleted. So they decrease in number every month. So if you've got, let's take 30 eggs that we're supposed to retrieve that month, if you see your periods, you have already lost 30 eggs for that particular period. So each and every month you lose between 30 and 25, depending on at whatever age. So ideally, all women before the age of 35, especially those who are just too busy with other things,
Yes.
they're supposed to present themselves to a healthcare professional to say, look, I need to be assessed. I need to know what is my reproductive status. What is that I can do to try and protect myself against what you call ovarian aging? Because women don't get old. The ovaries get old.
Oh,
Women are forever young. But the
that's
ovaries,
true. Yeah.
they get old. So once you protect your ovarian aging, you present to us, then we do definitely will take history like any other, consultation. We examine you, and we will do tests. One, we can use an ultrasound, what we call a sonar, to check what we call antral follicle counts, or the eggs per ovary, because we can calculate the number of eggs that we see on the overall ultrasound, and I'll tell you whether you've got low count or high count. And there's a blood test that we offer where it will tell us the chance of the drugs that we use for ovulation induction, whether will we get eggs when we do IVF or not. That's the blood test that we use. Then if we think your egg reserve is diminished or decreased, then we'll advise you to freeze your eggs prior to even getting married. So that's an option that we have to say, look, despite you thinking you are young, you are 35, 36, you are 37, and your number of eggs are decreasing every month, how about we freeze your eggs and you can continue doing whatever you're doing? Because if you have frozen eggs at 37 and you get married at 44, you can always come back at 44 and say, look,
I'm ready now. Yeah.
What do we do next? And it's easy. We use those eggs which we froze 7 years back. They still remain 37. So the eggs are still young, but you are 44, 45, 50, 60. I mean, we don't go beyond 55. But we try and assist women when they're still young, at least between the ages of 20 to 55. You can be assisted, provided you don't have underlying medical conditions like chronic hypertension, which is uncontrolled, diabetes, which is uncontrolled, cholesterol, and also mental health status. I mean, you can't just assist anyone. You need to make sure that people are stable, they are ready, they know what they're doing. And it's just unfortunate the treatment is expensive. I think the majority of people who need this treatment are the ones who really can't afford it.
Yes.
But is unfortunately, the government does not yet, see this as a medical condition. But it is a medical condition. It's just that it's expensive.
Do our medical aids see that it's...
The only medical aid that sees that this medical condition is discovered. They are on board to say they are prepared to pay, I think, for 2-3 cycles for IVF. For clinics that are accredited with a society called SASREC, South African Society of Reproductive Medicine. So Discovery Health is the only medical aid on board, but all other medical aids are not yet on board. So it is still expensive for the majority of our community.
And I think that is where the mental health challenge aspect of it comes into play. Because from what you're saying, I gather that most conditions really can yield positive results once, a reproductive medicine specialist enters the play. It is possible to treat, but the question is, can we afford it?
That's the big question. Can people afford it? Because now you have to decide between having to, look after your sister child, paying whatever school fees, and looking after your in-laws or your parents, and having to pay. Now with the load shedding, you have to buy solar systems. There's a lot. I think the majority of South Africans can afford IVF. There are very few people who can afford IVF because it's very expensive. So that on its own will have, mental issues. I guess the reason why you find a lot of people or crime in our country just increasing because people are looking for money. Yeah, people want money. They I don't know what it is that they do with it, but they'll do anything I mean, most of my patients will even sell their cars to come and try one cycle of IVF. That's how desperate people are. That's desperation to me. If you can go to an extent of selling your car so that you can attempt. One of my patients is 51. When she came to me, she told me that, I was born and told that I won't conceive. I was unemployed until the age of 40, 47, 48. She just got a job at 49. Then a year later, she heard about me. She came to see me. And she wanted to take a loan. She went to the bank, took a loan for 110,000.
How much?
110,000. Okay. So that she can start the process. First cycle, it was negative. Donor egg cycle. And I can tell you now, she's pregnant.
That's
at 51. That's her first pregnancy, and she took a loan so that she can just conceive. She's single. She's not married. Do you see how painful it is for someone to tell you that I've not been employed for so many years, I'm single, not married, but I just want to do this. I want to show people that God is there. God is with me. I believe in my prayers, and I'm going to be pregnant. You are going to assist me. So I took a loan for this. So there's a lot that goes behind, and if you don't have time to ask patients such questions in terms of who's assisting you, what's happening in your life, you'll never know. You'll never know. And I think it's only fair if we were able to know the background of all your patients, because you'll understand that people go through a lot of pain for them to find themselves sitting in front of you. It's not as easy as we think that because they're working, they're earning, therefore things are fine. So there's a lot of mental health issues. Mind you, had she not been pregnant, what was going to be happen to her now? Now she took all these loans, she just started working, and she's looking after a sickling old lady, and there's other kids that she's looking after. Those are her sister's kids, and she has just started working. But she feels that, despite I doing everything at home, I also have to have
my own child.
Whether married or not.
Just on the detour side, are we placing too much, emphasis on that, having a child, having my own child?
I think it's more societal than personal issues. The society believes being female and not being able to produce, you're not female enough. And we tend to put more of our time and effort trying to impress the society. We are not enough of who we are. We tend to be easily influenced by social media. We tend to be easily influenced by what people say. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in prayer, because people pray, but they don't like really take the prayer into context to say, my time will come. They want to see things like now. Things must happen like
manna must fall from heaven.
And they tend to see the next person at a distance smiling and happy. They think, wow, it means everything is well with them. They don't know that deep down, the majority of people are not happy. there's issues. So if we were to concentrate more on who you are, what do you have, and being enough with who you are, then I don't think there will be that pressure for one to find themselves having to do things beyond their thought. I mean, as I said, before they even come to me, they've been somewhere else. They've spent a lot of money before. So the money that they could have saved and come to this specific individual is more than what they paid for the service that I offered them. So people tend to do things not for themselves but for society. I think that's where the emotional pressures come from, and people end up being depressed because battling. What will people say? You know, I have to have my own child. Now that I'm working and I bought a 4-room house, I can't leave this house to nobody. I must have a child so that the child must look after this. I see such situations. The worst one is when you see someone who says, no, I can't just die without a child. I've got enough money. So if I can ask this girl just to carry my child so that this child can. And when you look at the age, you're thinking, but is it worth it? Is it really worth it? You know. So people have different reasons why they do whatever they're doing in terms of reproductive outcome. But most than not, I think it's more of pressure than anything.
Okay, let's say that, you know, with the objective of helping the younger viewers out there, at what age should I as a gentleman and I as a lady say, now I want to start thinking about my future, and I don't need to?
I think it depends. The scenarios, are you single or married?
Should that even, because I wanted to say, should I even be waiting until I have a partner? Should I even be waiting for marriage? Or should I walk into a marriage armed with information about myself?
I think ideally people need to think about fertility or reproduction as a form of expanding your family. So the question is, what is it that you want to achieve when you consult? Are you consulting because you want to have a family later in life?
Yes.
Or are you consulting because you just want to know whether you are healthy, your reproductive system is still functional? Or are you consulting because you just want to make sure that things are fine? So those who are single, females, I would advise them by the age of 35, they need to really consult and see their reproductive medicine specialist so that they can get the best advice. What is their option? And the most common option, especially those who are single and busy, you have to freeze your eggs. Those who are married, the question is, if you are married, are you trying to conceive later in life, or you are married trying to conceive after marriage? Because we define infertility as failure to conceive after 12 months of adequate sexual exposure.
And what is adequate sexual
3 times
exposure?
a week.
3 times a week.
A week.
Is maybe 7 times addictive?
It's not addictive.
Okay.
It's normal. It's healthy. It's good. Especially for men.
And it's more likely to yield results.
Definitely. It has been shown by several studies that if men ejaculate daily, their semen parameters improve in terms of the count or the number of sperms improves, the motility or the movement and the forward progression improves. So men who ejaculate daily, the sperm quality is the best.
Can I just follow up on that?
Yes.
So does it mean that as a male, if you go through a prolonged period of not engaging sexually, it does have the possibility of affecting
whatever you're getting, then the results are going to be very bad. Extremely bad. Men who stay more than 7 days or 10 days and above without sexual intercourse, the results, if you do semen analysis, those sperms are dead. They're not even moving.
So yes, it's If we are talking years and you're not having sex, because I do know of people like that who say, I decided to stay celibate, I decided to this.
It's one of the challenges that I have with couples where the husband works in Joburg and the wife stays aside. And they stay, we're infertile. In the true sense, you can't say they're infertile because they only have sex once or twice a month.
Yes.
And I can assure you, if we were to assess the semen parameters of that man, especially if he's not engaging in sexual intercourse, the results are very bad. Most of the sperms are abnormal, they're dead, and they're not moving. So there's no way they can make one pregnant. If you were to assess someone who has sex or intercourse daily, the volume is low, but the count might be also below, but the motility and the morphology, morphology means the normal sperms, the number is high, and the ones that are moving, the number is high. You need normal sperms that are swimming to make your partner pregnant. So that plays a role. Yeah. So I said the definition of fertility is failure to conceive after 12 months of adequate sexual intercourse. 12 months.
Yeah.
And if you don't conceive and you are below the age of 35, definitely you have to consult. Because we know that if you have 100 couples who are normal, in the first 3 months, almost 57% of them will be conceived in the first 3 months. In 6 months, almost 60-70% of them will conceive. In 12 months, 85% of the couple will have conceived. In 2 years, almost 93%, if everything is normal. So if 85% of patients will conceive if everything is normal in the first 12 months, and you are married for more than 12 months and nothing happens, you must be concerned to say, where might be the problem? Where are we in the statistics of patients who are struggling? Therefore, you present yourself early, you are less than 35, so that we can assess where could be the problem. And those couples who are above the age of 35, below 40, in the first 6 months if you are struggling, you must come early, because we know that you are old, your ovarian reserve is diminishing. Don't wait for 12 months so that we have to investigate. And those women above 40, we investigate immediately where is the problem. And for those where the problem is known, we treat immediately. We don't wait. So for men it's different, because men can still fertilize someone even if they're 60, 70.
Provided the morphology and
provide everything is fine.
Yeah.
What affects most men is alcohol, smoking, obesity,
Lifestyle. Yeah.
That's one of the things that we tend to ignore. And as I said, the use of recreational drugs. So that's what affects most men.
There's someone at home right now who feels that I've tried everything that I can, and some have actually given up and just, surrendered to the fact that I'll never have a child and it's okay. How do you speak to someone in that position right now? There's your camera.
My take is, if we was at home, there's nothing like I'm done. It's not possible. Anything is possible. Anything and everything is possible. It depends on how you view life. If it's not your time, it's not your time. I've had patients who came to me with a history of, I've been all over, I've been to all the clinics. And I said, but give me a chance. I will assist where I can assist. And my diagnosis was simple, to say, look, I think the problem is that your ovaries are giving you bad eggs. So if we continue using your eggs, you're going to have all these negative pregnancy tests. Let's get a donor and see what happens. We got a donor and she's now pregnant as we speak. So people mustn't give up. And they must try and listen to their healthcare professionals as to what is it that they can be done for them in terms of whatever treatment options. What I've noted is the challenge is the finances. The majority cannot afford these treatments because they're just too expensive. But giving up is not the solution.
We are speaking on reproductive medicine. This is an area that doesn't have much education, but it is our hope that with episodes like this, we are bringing information to South Africa that can ease partly on mental health. Studies have shown that marriages have broken, particularly within the Black community, simply because family dreams are not materializing or not being realized. I hope that experts like Dr. Ndhlovu are going to turn the tide around for us and make it not so much of a taboo for us to say, I actually need help and I am actually aware of what is going on with my reproductive system. If you're looking for Dr. Ndhlovu, we'll share his details with you. And he has a very successful rate. I didn't even ask him what is his success rate. Dr. Jackson, your success rate?
The range is between 40 and 50%.
It's been another thought-provoking episode of Healing Conversations, and I'm trusting that your mental health is going to ease up now that you know there is a solution to infertility. Yes, not necessarily every case guarantees a successful pregnancy, but you know what? At the end of the day, it is worth the effort. It is worth the try. It is worth the joy that you will receive once you come back with a successful pregnancy and yes, a baby in your hands. May the good Lord bless you and may He keep you and may He keep unfolding every dream that you have for your life as a reality.
To get yourself a copy of our latest books, The Mending of a Broken Vessel and Maintaining Your Joy, a journal for daily positive living, visit a bookstore near you.